Hello, hello. Welcome to the podcast, Madness Not Included. We are your hosts, Looney.
Bobby.
And Corey.
So, Bobby has something that I would consider to be the big subject.
For a decent amount of people, yeah.
So I'd say we should start on smaller subjects first.
Probably a good idea.
So Hearthstone just had its update, or its newest expansion, Rise of Shadows. And the top 3 decks right now are Tempo Rogue, Token Druid, and Bomb Warrior.
Bomberman.
Yeah, fucking hair on my face. But the most fascinating thing about that is, like, Paladin and Priest have dropped off almost completely.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of the secret Paladin anyway. Like, I played against it a few times and it's a joke. It felt like I never even with Murlocs or just like Durable Control, not trying to win the game, I still blow it out. I don't understand why it was.
Secret Paladin itself is really, really weak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some really great spells, but oh no, your legendary is trigger secrets twice. I triggered the one that minions get an additional 2 health twice. I'm a control warlock player. That usually will happen when I play Doom. Or not Doom, Twisting Nether.
Yeah,
Because Doom's in Wild. But even then, I play more Wild than Standard.
that's fair. I play Murloc, so it's like the only reason that's annoying is like, I get a 2/1 that you have to change the attack to, and it gets Divine Shield, and I get 2 of them. Okay, so the first attack hits your dude, and the rest of them hit your face.
Big whoop.
Yeah, and then I just go Blizzard because I play Murloc Mage mostly. So it's like, okay, now your things are either dead or frozen, or both,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really bug me because I just sit there and go, okay.
Paladin in general is not sitting at a good place because other than that, Paladin has Dragon Paladin or hand buff dragons. Hand buff doesn't really work all that great in Hearthstone. Even though, yeah, let me play a card that gives +5/+5 to a minion in my hand and I have a dude on the board. That's still, you're prolonging a creature that might just
Never
get
hit the
killed.
board, or might never get played.
Yeah.
Like, and there's enough, especially in the game right now, there's enough secrets where you just play a dude and it's cannon fodder at that point anyway, because like in Paladin you have the one where it changes his minions health to 1. You've got Mage where it deals 6 and any excess deals damage to the player, and then among other things, and like playing big stuff like that just doesn't really do much.
And
Like filling the board feels better than buffing or playing 1,000 secrets, because secrets only get you so far when your opponent knows what you're doing and doesn't play around.
trying to remember the exact order because under that is so Paladin and Priest and another class is at the bottom. In between is Warlock, Hunter, and crap, I just forgot.
Okay.
Mage.
And Shaman's on the bottom.
Shaman's also on the bottom.
Tonga Druid's number 1, Temple Rogue 2, Bomb Warrior 3, 4 is Zulok.
Because Zulok has the combo of playing
Magic Carpet.
Arc Thief, Rafam.
Yeah.
Arc Fiend.
And then it's Control Warrior, and then Mech Hunter.
Yeah.
Finally have a
Zulok
Hunter deck.
has such good early presence, mid-game presence using the Magic Carpet with their 1-drops to get rush and clear the board. And then when they're starting to lose steam, it's just, well, here's my Rafam. And
Here's
now
all
I have
these legendaries.
legendaries galore.
Gods, that card must be chaos and wild.
The bottom deck right now of the tier decks is Resurrect Priest.
Res Priest is doing really good in Wild because of Captain Moreta. I don't know how to say her name. I feel like an ass. And there's Res Priest decks just built around that in Wild. But in Standard, Res Priest lost everything. Because Spellstones were in Kobolds and Catacombs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also,
I mean-
they also just lost Psychic Scream, which was a big thing in Standard almost the entire time it was in Standard rotation.
Yeah. These are also just like the top decks right now.
Yeah.
But this could all, especially once people start to figure out the meta and how to play around it, like other decks are gonna, just like in Magic, the other decks are gonna.
The
Like
top
pop
3
up.
decks since Rise of Shadows released have stayed the same, though. Everything
Right.
else has kind of changed.
Right. But once someone figures out how to beat those 3 decks with one deck, I feel that deck is going to become big, and then whatever beats that, which is going to cause a constant influx. Just like especially in like Magic in the modern format, there's a constant influx. Just sometimes worse.
You were way off. It's a Katrina Muerte.
Yeah.
Katrina Muerte.
Not
I said
Captain.
Captain.
Sure did.
You did.
That's why I was looking through. I'm like, I don't see any card on this deck.
No, it's
I'm
Katrina
sorry.
Muerte.
All good. But yeah, like just like any card game, the metagame shifts based on the meta. So like
Someone's gonna find something new and
Yeah.
it's gonna
I
blow them out of the
like
water.
if Bomb Warrior becomes the number 1 deck for some odd reason, like decks that are going to be able to outrace it.
It was last week.
Okay, but decks that are going to be able to outrace it are probably going to be able to beat it pretty easily.
Yeah.
Like, with Murlocs, I stop it, but I lose to which one was it? I don't even remember what they were. I looked at it and I forgot. But one of the other 2, like I just get stomped by.
Tempo Rogue?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it's probably Temple Road because you go turn 1, yeah, Murloc. They go backstand, that feels bad.
Thanks.
Yeah, turn 2,
No, Token Druid is bad too because
Oh,
there's just
yeah.
so many dudes.
they outvalue you.
Yeah, they outvalue you, which is absurd.
Treant.
It wasn't even that. It was the 1/2 with lifesteal.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
That's the one that bugs me because it's like you're killing my Murlocs with it because you buff it, and you're healing back the damage I just dealt. Like it's hard to deal with, but that's what I get for playing Murlocs. But I can beat Bomb Warrior. I can beat a lot of these decks. Like Sulok is fun to play against because it's like, yeah, do damage to yourself. I'll just kill you, but Control Warrior sucks. But yeah, someone will figure out how to figure out a deck to be able to beat all 3, and then that deck they'll play it and they'll just start to take over, and people are like, holy crap, this is insane, and then people will start playing that, and then people will figure out how to beat that, and yeah, it's
I mean, there's also all the tech cards that just got released, like Hecklebot or
Yeah.
Unseen Saboteur.
that
Just one of the funniest things to happen is Unseen Saboteur against a Warlock. Cataclysm.
just remember the video I watched. It was Disguised Toast.
Oh,
So-
God.
Already know it's going to be some kind of troll thing. He did Lorewalker, Cho, and Rogue, and he played Myra's Unstable Element. Give them Myra's Unstable Element. Unseen Saboteur. Force them to cast Myra's Unstable Element.
Oh my God.
And then Togwaggle will scheme his own deck so he gets to have a deck still, and it's all Unseen Saboteurs. So you can just force spells out of their hand that could be good or bad.
Oh my God. That's rude as
And then
shit.
he got dumped on because they went, oh, okay, academic espionage. Because it wasn't Tempo Rogue he was facing. Yeah, he was
It's,
good old Unseen Saboteur. Oh, man. This list is long.
yeah. Like Hearthstone also, they have the access to be able to nerf cards as they need to.
Ain't that the truth?
Because unlike actual card games like Magic, where you can't nerf a physical card because you can't change the text on it.
No.
Like you can change rules so it affects it, kind of like
You're going to rat a...
yeah, rather like planeswalkers now are legendary planeswalkers, even though they weren't before. And now like instead of target creature player, where you could target a player, then you direct it to planeswalker. It's now any target because you have to target the planeswalker directly. So if you don't know that rule, which there are some people that still don't, you can get blown out of games because you're like, I'm going to bolt you redirect. I'm like, well, I'll take 3, and they'll be like, what do you? And you would just be like, well, you didn't target the Planeswalker. You target the Planeswalker himself now instead of the player. Because Leyline of Sanctity, because it made so you couldn't be targeted, protected your Planeswalkers as like from burn spells. If it's targeting permanent wise, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But if it says player, you can't target. So they made it better for people that struggle against decks with Planeswalkers, but worse for people that play Planeswalkers. Understandably, though, because some of the Planeswalkers get really, really tough to play against, and one of the biggest ones right now is Teferi. So, just like
the amount of complaints I've heard about Teferi.
I don't see a problem
But
with it personally.
it's not.
It's more of the
Complaining about himself. It's more like, God damn it, I have to face Teferi again.
yeah, that sounds about right. Because it's more it's more of like, because then you know it's going to be a really long game. It's going to be slow, and it's just going to be a lot of dirtling around. Whereas if you're not playing Teferi, it's going to be probably a faster game, generally speaking. Like obviously, there's slower control decks, like just like that without Teferi, but for the most part, just like with Hearthstone, the slower decks, as soon as you see one card, you're like, well, crap.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I get on the nerves of a lot of Wild players because of my Disco Lock. Because it is technically a slow deck, but there are times when I'll have like the perfect hand. I'll be going second. I'll have my Quest. I'll have my the Solarium, and I'll get like Civil War Golem and Fist of Jaraxxus, and then the next turn I'll drop a Tiny Knight of Evil, and then after that drop something else, and just all of a sudden they're at 16 health on the fourth turn. I have an 8/7 on the board, and it's like, okay, well, surrender.
Yeah. Like there's decks like that in Modern where it's the big one similar to what you're talking about for Disco Lock is it Phoenix, because they dump cards into the graveyard and can be a slow deck or it can be really explosive and kill you turn 2. You never know what's going to happen. Well, turn 2 is a little unrealistic. Actually, it is unrealistic, but still, for the sake of the argument, like it's possible.
Yeah.
Because if they go first, they go turn 1, Faithless Looting, discard 2 Phoenixes, and you go turn 2, Shock, Serum Visions, and they go turn 2. So you're at 18. They go turn 2, Manamorphose, Bolt, Faithless Looting, discard 2 more Phoenixes, and then gut shot you. You're at 15. They're coming in. You're at 14. You're coming in for 12. You're at 2. You're at 2 on turn 2, and you're like, I lose.
Oh my god!
It's possible. Extremely unrealistic. Extremely unrealistic. But it's unfortunately possible.
Yeah.
But the more realistic is where they go turn 1, Serum Visions, turn 2, Thing in the Ice, turn 3, dig a little bit more, discard a couple Phoenixes with Faithless Looting, and the next turn 4 is when they get their Phoenixes back and flip their Thing in the Ice, bouncing all your blockers and punch for 13 to 19 damage. So, you okay? Oh, that was fast.
Get up, it's like, okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Welcome back.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I was
right.
letting Bobby rant because it's.
Well,
Is it Phoenix? Blah, blah, blah. As soon as I heard
I'm
that.
comparing it to Disco Lock because it plays a lot like Disco Lock. Because it gets value off its discard.
Yeah.
I know, but it's just like, as soon as I heard you say, is it Phoenix? It's like, That's where it goes now.
Just as a like little tiny thing. So with the solo adventures for Hearthstone, usually they have a say, oh, it'll be released in less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't said that yet.
Jeez.
Normally, like the last 3 have been within 2 weeks of the expansion. We are now 3 weeks out of Rise of Shadows,
Something like that.
and we still don't know for sure when the solo adventure is going to be released.
I feel like one thing we're going to have to work on for all of us is trying to get kind of newer games that come out that are like bigger names so we can actually review them with the podcast as well.
Yeah.
Like Days Gone just came out. And Mortal Kombat 11 came out recently.
Okay.
Oh, it actually came out recently? I didn't know. I thought
Mortal
it
Kombat
was
11?
Combat 11
It came out the 23rd.
I
is
thought it came out soon.
one of the best Mortal Kombat games that have been released. And I've seen a lot of the story stuff. The story's insane.
From what I've seen, yeah, but it actually had a recent backlash about
Microtransactions.
Yeah, the microtransactions.
That's like the biggest complaint about that game. It's like the rest of the game is great. These microtransactions just bring it down, though.
Yeah.
I miss when you could buy the entire burger and then you paid a little bit extra for the extra sauce. Now you have to buy the bun and then you buy the burger, the lettuce, the tomato, the cheese, the sauce individually.
Yeah, he went into food.
I'm a chef. What do you want from me?
I know you're a great
Cookie.
cook.
I'm gonna stab you.
You're such a good cook.
I'm gonna stab you.
Oh,
Speaking of that conversation of cook versus chef, one of my coworkers said that he was talking to a supervisor and went, "We don't have any chefs here." As I'm standing right there,
Ouch.
hi, I'm a trained chef. Oh, hello. And she went, "Oh," and just waved me off. We have 3 people apparently that are trained chefs. My manager, me, and I guess the new supervisor or something. I wasn't paying attention to the whole conversation. I just heard them complaining. I heard her complaining about something, and it said, "We have no chefs here."
You're right.
And I felt insulted. Sorry. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah,
It's all
so,
good, man.
like, Mortal Kombat 11, I was just looking at it. They're doing a huge update. Excuse you, too. Sorry, guys. Our floor is yelling at us. They're putting a update, I guess, here. I'm guessing today or sometime soon.
Yeah.
And they're also giving players free in-game currency because of there was a huge bug on one of the fighting maps. And
You can definitely hear that.
I get that you want to play with the big orange ball, but
Basketball.
yes,
Aha.
basketball.
I found it.
You found it.
The broken pins.
The broken pin.
It was broken when I found it. It's white.
It is white. Anyways,
Blue.
but it says blue, Bob.
But it's white.
I know. Wait until we change it, then you have to think of a new line.
Change it. Have it above us.
Because he tried to argue with me about the Yeti caster, but I looked at it closely. It's navy blue.
There's one you guys have on display at work
It's black.
that's black and it says blue on it, and that's the one I thought you were talking about.
Nope.
It looks the exact same.
It looks a lot like this one.
No, the one you were talking about.
The
one with the
Yeti.
boom mic with the over the top.
Because it comes with a Yeti mic, but there's 3 other Yeti mics on top of that. Anyways, we're talking about our future purchases for this on the podcast.
Yep.
Look at us go. Getting.
Hey.
How did we get all the way to the Yeti mics?
I just went. It's white, and then you started talking
I
about
was talking about Mortal Kombat 11, and all of a sudden just
It
yeah,
all
and then we're gonna
runs.
buy this
squirrel.
It's that kind of concept. My name is Doug. I love you,
Squirrel.
squirrel.
Hi there.
Hi there. So yeah, they're. It seems like that's what they're gonna do is just gonna give players free in-game currency for their mess up, which is awesome that they're doing. The other game, Days Gone, it's
Not heard of this game.
it's another survival game,
Oh, okay.
survival horror game,
Okay.
but it had horrible reviews from like actual critics.
Yeah.
So like Metacritic, let's see, what does it have? Metacritic, Games Radar, and IGN. IGN gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Metacritic gave it a 72%. People have bought this game. It is the biggest physical sale launch of the year so far
It's
in
all
the
good.
UK.
It's also got 3.5 out of 5 on Games Radar.
Yeah,
But 92% of players have liked the game.
correct. Everyone loves it. Like, all the comments I've been seeing is like, these critics were wrong. This game is fantastic. The only issue people had was there was a startup crash and streaming problems. But they are fixed already. Like, the game has been out a day.
Hey, if those are already
Days
fixed,
Gone
that's
20
amazing.
I'm sorry, 3 days. It came on the 26th. But
fixed within a week. That's incredible.
yeah, like they got right on it. Oh my god, both of you.
I'm sorry.
What is this? SIE Ben Studio. I've never heard of them.
Never heard of them either.
But I guess like that's who the developer is.
That does bring in an interesting conversation about the audience versus critics reviews.
Yeah, it's. I feel like the critics don't. I'm not gonna say they don't know their stuff, but
Well, sometimes
But
like something as simple as
it's very skewed towards what they think, not what everyone will think.
sometimes something as simple as, oh, we're having a startup error, does hurt a review. A really good example of someone that really loved the game. He's a reviewer on YouTube. He's called Jim Sterling. There was a game that came out last year, or it was in 2017. It was Hell's Blade. I don't remember the name of this game, but it takes place in hell. And there's this moment about halfway through the game, and the reviewer, Jim Sterling, had this horrible like glitch that just shut the entire game down. Like it hurt his computer, and he actually gave it like a 2 out of 10. But then about a week later, he actually came back to it and it's like, I'm sorry,
I messed up.
that was rude of me. This game is actually
didn't
like an
mean-
8 out of 10. This game is really good.
I
I
didn't
just
mean-
got really frustrated with it.
I didn't mean what I said that day. I was at home on the night of the 24th.
But like,
On the
I think game reviewers on YouTube have a better like,
grasp of the player base.
but it's also a difference of like reviewers of movies and games. There's this huge like disconnect between the two. Yeah, it's a similar concept of, oh, we're going to review it, but
Yeah, the big difference is the movie reviewers, they view it as the entertainment factor more than like because game developers seem to point out glitches, plot holes, stuff like that, where movie developers don't as much, from what I've noticed, because not everyone cares about that kind of thing. Gamers usually don't like glitches, or they like to exploit them. So if
speedrunners.
speedrunners, boom, but or like the startup crashing, like the reviewers are gonna throw that as a huge mark against them. Well, of course that's gonna be a big issue, but like gamers at the same time, as long as they can get into the game, yeah, it might crash every once in a while here and there, but any game can do that. Even games that are solid, like back on PS2 when games seemed like they didn't have issues, they still did.
Oh yeah.
Simply because the system had issues, or the disc might have had a scratch that you didn't know about from being made. So whereas now it's all digital, literally just downloading from a disc. Well, if there's one little error on the download from the computer, you're gonna have issues, and that's not the developer's problem issue. Like, yeah, it's obviously their issue, but it's not their fault because they can't test every disc before they send it out, because that's going to take 100 million years just to send out a game. They literally have to be designing it for like 3 systems ahead. So if we're being made out, you have to be for like PS7, and that's unrealistic. Whereas a movie, just slap it together, boom, you just send the reel out to the reviewers, and okay, this is good, or oh, this is bad, and that's where it ends.
Yeah.
So.
But there always seems to be a disconnect between the general audience and the critic.
Usually, yeah. Like, every once in a while, like, the general audiences agree.
I'm trying to think of a great example of a movie that the critics hated but the general audience loved. Venom.
I wouldn't know.
Venom was just greatly disliked by the critics, but most audience members enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. I have one of my coworkers didn't like it, but he's also a huge comic book guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's viewing it from the comic book side of it, and the issues of the connection to Spider-Man and that storyline.
Well, there isn't.
Exactly, that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue he was talking about, because I hadn't seen the movie yet. I wanted to, simply because it's Spider-Man related, it's my favorite superhero. But
My issue with it is that means that there's more than likely that Venom as a character will not show up in the MCU.
which is unfortunate, because he's one of the best known bad guys in Spider-Man. He's arch enemy, I guess you could say, because he's the one that he fights most often. Because he was technically Venom at one point in most of the storylines.
It's hard to pin because you got Doc Ock too. That's kind of also portrayed as his big thing. Like,
Right. It depends on which
Doc
kind
Ock
of a series.
and Green Goblin.
Green Goblin is his
Hobgoblin too.
Hobgoblin too. Like the Green Goblin and Hobgoblin are absolutely his big arch rivals. Like,
But at the same
if you're
time,
thinking across all of them, arch enemy number one is always going to be Green Goblin.
And since,
But like Venom is still a huge thing.
the big thing with Green Goblin is he actually helps out. Venom does every once in a while, helps Spider-Man. Whereas Green Goblin doesn't. He sees what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue.
That's it. Yeah.
and Sinister Six is always a big one for
Oh, yeah,
Spider.
I can't forget them. That's like all of the villains.
Sinister
It's a group of
Six
his villains into one.
general
kinda like
lineup.
Suicide Squad kind of thing.
Kind of.
They're usually set up by someone like Doc Ock. They
Well,
usually-
Suicide Squad being like a group of villains put together to do good. The
Yeah.
Sinister
Oh, I didn't know
Six,
in the
yeah.
name of the government.
I haven't seen the movie.
Government has nothing
I'm not
to
a
do
comic
with
book guy, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, yes. Suicide Squad is a group of villains from the DC world or DC universe that was put together to help the government and do good for the government.
But it's also like in out for the government. So if the Suicide Squad gets caught, the government can say we have no idea what's going on.
And then-
Makes sense.
Where Sinister Six is 6 Spidey villains
Fighting Spidey.
fighting Spidey. Yeah,
just
like,
to take him down.
that's it.
It's
Makes
usually set up by Doc Ock with trying to think. Vulture, Scorpion, Venom is usually in there, but not always.
Not always. Like the big ones are Vulture, Scorpion, Rhino, Doc Ock, obviously.
the electric guy.
That's what I was gonna say. I can't remember his name right now.
What's
I could see his face
What's
from
his
the comics.
name?
Shocker.
No.
No, he is one, but that's not what he's called. Shocker is a different person.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Oh, good thing we have a camera.
Electro?
Electro.
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 And there's also Mysterio.
Listen to us babble and try to figure. Just listen to the
I don't,
silence.
I don't know if Mysterio was a part of it.
Mysterio is mostly.
Mysterio was a bit of a joke villain from
I wonder if they
understanding.
all heard the steam coming from our brains. Like,
Or the
If we
real-
did have a
the
camera,
gears grinding.
it would just zoom in on my face. Just.
one's got grinds going, one's got steam, and the other one's got a hamster. It's just
No, the hamster climbed down and was off to lunch.
yeah, that's right.
Shit.
It's just still spinning somehow.
Which one has the hamster?
I say we roll for it. No, we're not putting that on the microphone. They get that little bit.
Golf ball.
This is getting confiscated now.
I'm gonna stab you. I want my golf ball.
We'll get it back after we're done.
I mean,
You'll get it back after class.
The end of the school term.
School tour.
Big word Bombay.
roll it over here, I guess.
No, we'll get back to them on that. We'll just edit that in.
Edit in. This person's name got this.
It's a choo-choo plane. Ruining our podcast.
I don't think the plane got hurt.
Well, now they know.
Now they know that there was a plane.
It's a
We'll
choo-choo
just
plane.
Edit that out.
No.
Credit for calling a choo-choo plane goes to Fitz and crew.
No.
So back to games coming out. Actually, I guess we should get on that again. Actually, tomorrow there's a game coming out.
Really?
Final Fantasy. Well, it's coming out. Like,
Oh, it's
quote unquote.
It's a
It's
re-release.
it's no. Well, Switch is one of them in Xbox One. It's Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age,
Yeah.
coming to Switch and Xbox One, which was
Which
only
was on
been for,
360 before, so it's just
you know,
I have no idea what that one is.
Final Fantasy.
it was. I played a little bit of it. I could not get into it.
Fluffy loves it.
Fluffy loves it because it's not a turn-based combat system.
Fluffy
But-
loves Final Fantasy. in
Yes,
general.
that's true. But he does criticize.
Also just sits at the beginning and grinds to whatever level he wants by cheesing it. Like,
Not always. I've seen him literally sit there and grind for hours just to get 5 levels.
He grinded to level 53
Before
in
the
Kingdom
first
Hearts
boss. Before the first boss, right?
no,
In Kingdom
in the
Hearts
first on the island,
This is before the first boss.
Yes.
the little like with the
Fighting Riku. and all
no,
that.
not fighting, but it's the training.
sparring.
I get the sparring, just
Yeah.
sitting there, one XP,
2 XP. Oh yeah, with Waka. Where you
Waka.
just hit it back. Yeah.
doing that. That mostly because it's the easiest thing. Is just bink, bink, and it's quick.
The problem was as you leveled up.
53.
The problem was as you leveled up, you'd hit it back, and it would take it twice, and you'd be out cold, and you'd win. It's like,
Yeah,
hi.
like but he sat there until level 53.
Yeah, he
He loves the grind, but besides that,
here we go again. Referencing someone that isn't going to be on this.
we'll
podcast
just
for-
edit him in later.
for months.
Just edit him in later.
well, it could be as soon as his sister's husband is done with his pool league, he's gonna be she's gonna be able to work Mondays.
Maybe we don't know.
That was what was
It's the-
explained to him and he
Initial-
explained to us.
Yeah.
But it's sure not.
Um,
but
But
yeah,
like,
like
the next big game that's coming out.
12 was just, I don't know. Like, the concept was fine. I just didn't like the combat because it took away from what Final Fantasy was. Final Fantasy always,
was turned
to me, was turn-based.
Well, they're
This
taking
took
it
that
out
away.
completely.
Yeah, I know. Final Fantasy VII is going to be full open fighting from the remake, from what I've seen from the gameplay. It's like, it's saddening because Final Fantasy VII, for me, is literally the only reason I truly enjoyed the game, like the series. Yes, I like 10 and 10-2. I really loved them, but I couldn't get into the others at all.
I like
But-
13. Fight me on it.
That's fine.
The internet hates.
I know
13.
13 hates it.
That's why I'm staring at the
And the internet
microphone that
hates
they
13.
can't see me staring at. Fight me on it.
But the issue for me, but like 7 was turn based, and yeah, it was technically not turn based because you had the timers for attacks. But it was 10 was the first one where it really started to show that they were changing how the turn based system worked,
I think
and
it's.
then 12 was when they just got rid of it basically.
I think it's safe to say that what they
13 had it
did
too.
with
Or the 10 version.
with Final Fantasy is that they turned it from the whole aspect of turn-based into this is a representation of JRPGs.
The problem, yeah, and like it just wasn't what Final Fantasy VII was known for. Was my issue, but at the same time, the new 7 that's coming out, yeah, it's not turn based, but it looks like it's basically going to be Kingdom Hearts fighting system, and that looks amazing to me. Just the difference is it's going to be Cloud instead of Sora and all that kind of stuff. But I've also only seen the one trailer, and that trailer might not even be related to the game because I don't know if that trailer was made before or after they fired their staff.
The
To
simple
restart.
plot of Kingdom Hearts.
It's not simple.
Here,
We'll
let me
find
see
out
you
how
do
simple
the
it
same
is.
plot, all 3 games, just different.
We'll find out how simple the plot is when the new Starbomb album drops.
Here, let us sit you down for 3 hours to try to explain Kingdom Hearts in chronological order.
Corey, no, Corey, wake up. No, wake up.
Hey, Corey, is that a bit of blood coming out of your
Yeah,
eye? Are you
yeah.
okay?
As he almost falls out of his chair.
Irony. But
God damn it.
hey,
Hey, he didn't make the first comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Allah, damn it.
oh, yay!
Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham reference, and then we
Again.
get bombs.
At least I'm giving him credit. It's not my joke.
No, that's not who's gonna kill us. Everything we say, do not take it literally. Anyways,
Look, it's a choo-choo plane.
it's a choo-choo plane. It's stuck in my head thanks to Fits and them. Like it's all I'm gonna call them now. But like next big game, Rage 2.
Oh yeah.
It comes out in May.
I never played the first one.
I didn't
what
either,
it is,
but like it's got a huge following.
So I have a big
It's-
issue of like
it's-
I'm not as much of a video gamer as you guys are.
Yeah.
Growing up, it was I played video games.
I'm just
Obviously,
staring at a list. Like,
well, still,
what
I grew up playing board games, card games. So
what concerns
I
me
think Fluffy would play Rage too.
probably
absolutely will. Guarantee we'll see him playing it on the 14th of May. Or actually, probably the 15th because the 14th is a Tuesday. But 15th we're leaving.
Yeah.
15th we drive up to Illinois for Eason.
goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, bye.
Okay, I won't miss you.
But yeah, the 21st is apparently a big day.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
of May. We got Team Sonic Racing for PS4, Xbox, Switch, and PC. Basically, coming out. Switch is getting Assassin's Creed 3 remaster / Liberation remastered.
Okay.
You get a game called Observation, which I haven't heard of, but it's coming to PS4 and PC. And then Switch is getting Resident Evil 4, and Resident Evil 0.
That's a lot of Resident Evil.
And then the one that's just kind of out of place is Everybody's Golf VR for PlayStation 4. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games coming out on the 21st.
Oh,
And
my goodness.
one of them is like a big new title, which is Observation.
But one of them's for the PS4.
It's gonna be the huge joke, isn't it? It's gonna be the biggest joke, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm gonna play golf on the PS4.
What was that? Golf ball. Oh, where did that come from?
I feel like I sounded more like a sucker announcer. Go! I want a burger, some fries, and a Coke!
Speaking of stealing jokes,
Thank you, Ryan Stiles. You are a beautiful man.
yes.
I will quote Who's Line all day, no breaks.
So would I. I just
If I can remember the quotes, then yeah.
Think
pizza.
pizza.
Okay, Bobby.
Baby Drew's first
What
words.
was your first words? Hey, nurse.
Come on.
Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady. Great. Another great man that's alive.
So
Here's something
Sci-fi-
I'm
oh.
looking forward to that should be coming out this year, but it has not had an official announcement on when it's coming out. Honey Pop 2.
Honey Pop 2, let me find out.
no idea what that is. I don't want to know what that is. Corey, don't do it. The laugh scares me.
It's
So-
not on this list.
Because it doesn't have an official date.
I'm staring at the unofficial dates of 2019 as well. It has that.
It's not going to be a
Oh, hey, there's a new Digimon Survive King.
It's not a AAA release. It's an indie developer.
Fair.
No.
Most indie
Well,
games
listen
are
here.
Another-
indie loving.
Another big
Beautiful man.
release that I want, that I'm waiting for, that I'm excited for because it's Halloween, is Resident Evil. Not Resident Evil. Wow, Medieval. We were talking about Resident Evil earlier. Medieval.
It's Resident Evil, 21st of May.
Medieval. I'm sorry.
It actually
The
doesn't have a
remake.
confirmed date.
Right. Well, it's listed officially for October though.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I don't even have that. Like, it's not even put under. Oh, October's not even on here.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's gonna be 1 and 2. I really hope
My
it
God.
is.
Not sure. I don't
That's
think they
right.
actually.
The only
said-
thing I saw said 1. Or which only showed clips of 1. And like I'd be fine with it, but having played 1 a lot and only gotten to play 2 a couple of times, basically 1 full playthrough and maybe like a few hours afterwards because you have all the items, you can go through it again for fun. Basically, New Game Plus, but without actually New Game Plus.
What time does Josh usually show?
5:30.
5:30.
I really hope it does get it because that game deserves it. It was like my whole family loved it, and everyone I know that's played it found the game amazing. And at the time, it was one of the few non-turn-based, quote unquote, open world fighting games. Like it was a precursor for a lot of fighting games like Kingdom Hearts.
I remember correctly, that game is considered a cult classic.
That too.
It is.
It is because it was
I looked
It
this up
was
for a while.
reanimated. Like it was basically like dead coming back to life and
Oh,
ancient
dear
wars
God.
happening and stuff like that.
I forgot to mention, this is way out of when we were talking about it. I was looking up when the Rise of Shadows solo adventure was coming out.
Oh, yeah.
They said it was going to be a month away, not 2 weeks away.
Wow.
From when Rise of Shadows released, so we got
That's
another week.
Next week.
I forgot to say that.
Good job, Corey.
I know, I'm good at this
I
game.
mean,
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
I'd rather that it was a month because this is going to be either pay for with gold in-game currency or with $20.
Yeah, it's another one.
So 800 per floor or $20 for the entire thing.
Isn't it?
Ow.
Shut up. So medieval.
But
Back to medieval.
like it was
wait.
it was a different kind of game because it's also like it had an inventory. Yeah, it felt like a precursor to a lot of the good games now. What is MCR not getting back together?
The visual that no one sees.
Well, there's eight legs. Isn't coming back.
I'll give you a hint. Gino.
But in any case, it felt like it feels like looking back on it, it feels like a huge precursor to a lot of the open world fighting games that are around now. Awkward.
Goodbye.
Oh, he's opening his can away from the mic.
Oh.
Probably still
the
heard it.
loudest thing in the world. I actually want to do the same thing.
See it, y'all are pussies.
Okay.
They heard yours, they didn't hear mine. 'Cause I could.
I was trying to be computer me.
Why do you think I open it like that? They can't hear it.
I'm not doing that right now. Oh,
But in any case,
I should have just opened it up with the golf ball.
Oh.
but
Missed opportunity.
like obviously the concept of the inventory is completely different than what you get now, where you have a set amount you can carry now, whereas this was as soon as you got it, you could carry up to this amount of each thing.
It would stack.
Well, it wasn't even that it was stacked. It was a rotating thing. You couldn't even pause to get to it. It was paused, quote unquote. But like it was not like it was a different kind of inventory. So like you had space for one of everything, and then you could have maximum ammunition for each of them. That was it. It wasn't like not Kingdom Hearts, like Resident Evil, where you can carry this much guns and this much ammo and this, and it's like okay, now
Like
you're
Resident
doing
Evil
stuff.
4, where you have a box you have to keep.
Yeah, which that one
I wouldn't
that
know.
was probably the toughest inventory I've ever worked with. But
But you had to work with it.
it was fun at the same
It was.
time.
And hey, it's coming.
The
to
other
Switch.
one that I had major issues with was Resident Evil 7's inventory.
Yeah.
That one hurt
Oh.
so bad.
It was so fun watching you play that game.
I hate you.
I've never played a Resident Evil game.
We have VR. Let's make him play it with VR.
That's something we should put on the podcast.
We can totally live stream it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will do that at some point.
We need to do this soon. Because I just want to watch Looney just. Alright. Oh god! We're gonna someone's gotta stand behind him so he doesn't fall.
Oh, I guarantee I'm gonna fall.
Try to catch him.
That's why I won't play VR, because I will fall, and I know I will.
And guess what?
Because I'll probably slip.
I'm a coward.
And these things are,
Ah! Jump scares.
it gets me. Like,
Yeah, you not even playing it was jumping when I was playing it.
and I knew it was coming, and that was the sad part.
Yep. Kind of like when I was watching.
It's just like I know this is coming. Just
one of the Harry Potters. Like I don't even know which one it was. When he went to go get the water for Dumbledore with the
Six.
shells, like 6. He went to go get the water. I'm like, something's gonna grab him. I know it. I know it's gonna do it. And as soon as he went to reach, it grabbed me. And I still jumped, and I was on a date. And I felt stupid.
I hate those moments in the movies. Like it's a
That
jump
is-
scare.
It got worse because he knew what was happening.
Not as bad as the escape room. And Gurney?
Oh,
Oh,
the foot.
The foot.
That was you though. I wasn't there for that.
If anybody's listening from Illinois in the northern part, go check out 62 Escape. Yes, I'm plugging this right now in this voice. Just for Steven Christoph, because If I don't, after mentioning it, I feel like I'm gonna get an angry message anyways.
You probably will because of the fact that it's Kristoff. Having met the man
Twice,
twice.
yeah. You met him
in my life.
twice. You met him at Kristoff's for the
When
going-
you were going away, and
for the
then
going away party,
when we
and
went to
when I went to
60
the
years.
competition.
I've never met
He's
him.
a great man.
He is not what Corey portrays him as. Is not what he looks like. This man does not look intimidating at all until he gets a serious face, and it's like, okay, leave me alone.
He really loves Ninja Turtles though, so we should just let that be known.
Goddamn Ninja Turtle award.
We'll just leave it there. So in June we have Persona Q2 coming out for 3
I mean, if we want to talk about stuff that like actually matters more to us, Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Royal is coming out for Japan this year, but it comes out for America in 2020.
Okay, bye Bobby.
No.
And
That's what you get.
a bit of a controversial thing happened with Persona 5. Persona 5S, which is being released to the Switch, is more of a Dynasty Warriors-esque type game. And a lot of people were upset about it because it wasn't Persona 5.
Yeah.
But it was like, everyone's like, Persona 5S, whatever this is, it's coming to the Switch. We're getting Persona 5 for the Switch. And it's like, it's not what you were expecting, though.
Nope.
I mean, that doesn't mean that Persona 5 won't come to the Switch. It's still very possible.
Oh, especially since they just Joker was just released in Smash not too long ago, and he's super dumb to play.
Oh, we should be hearing what the next DLC character is in like a month's time.
Sweet. It's gonna be forever. Bobby,
Illinoisans, when they start doing their taxes in 2019, bill, breathing, $1, talking, $5, standing, $10, existing, $2, lollygagging, $2, chewing, $1.
All them.
Illinois taxes are dumb, but in any case,
No, we're not talking about that.
no.
So yes, everyone go check out 62 Escape in Gurney Mills Mall in Gurney, Illinois.
How does that make you feel, Corey?
A little awkward.
Well then.
Wolfenstein Youngblood comes out this year. The new Fire Emblem comes out.
Which Fluffy's excited for.
I am too.
Doom Eternal.
Is
I don't know when it comes out. I think it's next year.
I got yelled at because of Fire Emblem by Fluffy. Because I found a picture on Facebook and I shared it because it had to do with puns. And Mikey yelled at me because it was from Fire Emblem and I'd never played a single Fire Emblem. He got mad at me. He's like, you're not allowed to share it unless you play it. It's like, oh, I didn't know what it was from. Because I haven't played it.
Psychonauts 2 is coming out. It's a
Yes.
long-awaited thing that's coming out this year.
I'm excited for that.
Minecraft Dungeons?
I have no idea what that is.
I don't either. I'm gonna have to look at that. Mario Kart Tour, which is coming to iOS and Android.
Right.
Um,
I remember hearing about this.
Gears 5.
What?
Gears 5. Gears of War 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I thought they were done with that franchise.
I thought so too. Battletoads, the Xbox One and PC.
Yep.
Figured that was gonna
What?
be Bobby. Yeah, Battletoads, man.
Because Microsoft has Rare and they have the rights of Battletoads.
Oh, cool.
So now we get Battletoads again.
For PC, because I will never own an Xbox again.
Then
Not,
you got,
not intentionally.
of course, another big one coming out. We got Super Mario Maker 2
Like that.
coming out.
Which Josh and myself are excited about.
Yeah.
'Cause I had never had the Wii U and I wanted to play Mario Maker.
I mean, and then other than that, like, there's nothing confirmed fully yet.
Funniest thing I ever saw in Mario Maker was a parody where like it was a fan made video and someone made a Nickelback song on it and Mario kept stopping and like, please stop, please save me. Basically just making like hating on
No.
Nickelback.
No.
Like, like I'm done with this. Hit like the clear button and falls and then out of nowhere it says Nickelback rules over him. It's like, oh no. I like Nickelback.
I do too. September, the only big thing in September so far is Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Other than
All
that,
this
there's
time
not much.
avoiding talking about Borderlands.
Yep.
There's so many opportunities that it could have been brought up.
There's so many, and I'm gonna just still avoid it because I don't want to get into that.
So the new Siren.
Oh,
Louis, shut up.
Like, I think okay. So we'll just talk about the elephant in the room. I don't know if anybody else has seen it.
Wow, I'm not that fat.
Yeah, you are. Anyway,
Is that another pun? Because he said.
well, no, because Bobby's not an elephant. He forgets. Elephants don't forget.
My ears also aren't that big.
Just like
And I would
most
make
of
a
our
joke,
exes.
but we're on a podcast.
But you gotta remember, elephants don't forget, just like our exes. So,
I would like to say that I am still friends with with most of my exes. So
So am I.
I'm not.
Moving on.
come at me. But so of course, there's a lot of backlash. I'm sure a lot of people that will see this will already know what I'm talking about. Borderlands 3 being on the Epic Games Store or launcher, whatever it is.
It's Epic Games Store.
Yeah. So it's an
It
exclusive.
serves the same function as
Yeah.
Steam, Origin.
Yeah, all of that. So it's
You
an
play-
exclusive for that. The CEO of Epic Games, though, came out and said that if Steam raises their
It was 80%.
88%, God, what was it? trying to remember. I'm
You
trying
said
to find,
80%
I
earlier.
think it was 88.
On.
Looks like they challenged Steam and got shade. Tim Sweeney, that's his name. So he's since Steam, it's Valve's Juggernaut digital game store rival. They're trying to challenge them to drop the cut it takes from developers from the current 30% to 12%, giving developers 88% of what's made. Considering Epic Games has secured Metro Exodus, World War Z, Division 2, and they're getting upcoming game Control. They also have Borderlands 3.
And there's another one made by the original Fallout people. I don't remember what that one is.
I don't either,
I don't
but
know.
It was like Outer Worlds or something like that. That was a
Something.
big one that oh, that's
So,
coming
like,
out. And then it's like, it's on the
Epic Games is getting these exclusives. If they are going to commit to the 88% revenue share for all developers, they will hastily organize a retreat from exclusives. They will quickly pull it out, honoring partner commitments, and consider putting their own games on Steam. So you'll get Metro Exodus, Division 2, you'll get these games that Epic Games has had. They won't be exclusives anymore. Steam will get access to these right away now.
I do want to add, Borderlands 3 is only planned to be exclusive for 6 months.
Correct. Just like some other games. Like Steam is getting a weird one, Super Meat Boy.
Oh, yeah, it's the Super Meat Boy sequel.
Sequel, yeah.
People have been waiting for since 2011.
Super Meat Boy Forever. It's coming to PS, it's coming to everything, even iOS and Android apparently. But it's not coming to Steam until April 2020. It's already out right now for everything else. Steam will not get it until April 2020 because Epic Games has it, PS4, Xbox.
My biggest issue with this is the attitude of this is healthy for gaming community, Like, this is not healthy. Your
You have a lot of
consumer
backlash.
base doesn't like this. The consumer base clearly despises everything about this situation.
Not everybody though. That's the thing.
No. And I
It's-
personally think, yes, Steam does need to have a good rival to actually get Steam to get off of their
High horse.
high horse and actually get them back into an attitude of we need to be
For the
better.
gamers and for the creators.
Yeah.
How it
Not
used
for
to be.
ourselves. That was the big thing about Steam. Like when people first started talking about what's the point of this? Like, because I didn't play computer games at all. I didn't play anything on my computer. At that point, I had a computer for literally just Skype, YouTube, schoolwork. That's about it.
Yeah.
And then Steam was there.
it's-
So
I think if I think Steam should take them up on this.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have a problem with Epic Games. I really don't. I just don't like Fortnite.
They took the
Like,
success.
I'll say it right now. I don't like Fortnite.
Neither do I.
It's a quotation marks good game on quotation marks. None of us are gonna play. That's not our type of thing.
No,
It's the
it was-
best part about the game for us, like people like us that don't play it, is it takes away the players that like the kids that love it from the games that we play to make the games that we play a little more serious, a little more competitive. Yes, we still run into the problem that the toxicity of especially games like League are the worst you will ever see in your life.
It's never going to change.
But it's
Overwatch.
been
Gamers are
less
toxic.
painful to play since Fortnite has become such a big thing.
But I'm happy that their game is doing so well.
Exactly.
It's
I'm not
fantastic.
going to criticize
And
them.
hey,
It's
it's got some interesting mechanics that took the world by storm. Like,
caught everyone off guard and was like, this doesn't make
I
any
just
sense.
don't. Me personally, I don't want to run around. I'm like, oh, I'm shooting this guy, and all of a sudden he's a 20-foot tall building.
Yeah. Like,
Aha!
having played Call of Duty to a very competitive point, if I'm shooting someone and they just out of nowhere become a building, it's like,
No, I'm done. Just walking away.
I'm just going to take this nuke tube now. Blow it all up. Oh, look, they can rebuild it as it's being blown up. It makes no sense to me.
You take it, but
But watching how some of the pros play it, I don't know how they can react that fast. Having played Call of Duty and their system isn't 100% realistic because of the fact that you can just run around back and forth and dodge bullets.
yeah.
It's not realistic. But the fact that they can react as fast as I could with someone jumping out of nowhere shooting me and I can kill them before they killed me with building this building that in an instant, it's like that's incredible.
Yeah. And it's like Fortnite gamers, like, mad props for your reaction skills. You can keep the game, though.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call out the person I want to call out because that'd be dumb. Because that could have some major backlash on us.
Yeah, it sure would, especially since we have a lookalike in the room.
Yeah. No. I'm
Kind
not,
of
not really.
at the right angle.
If I dyed my hair,
If you dyed
Yeah,
your hair, yeah.
at the right angle, I look like Silent Bob from Jay and Silent Bob. Like, get me a trench coat and a backwards white hat.
That's not difficult though. He'd have to dye his hair.
I feel like he would dye his hair either way.
That's fair, but he'd have to dye it and slick it that certain way.
Because he dyes his hair to express himself.
when I dye my hair, it's going to be like a reddish brown.
It's going to be green
No,
with purple streaks.
as much as I like the Joker, no, it'd be reddish brown. Like it would be auburn.
Ooh.
Is it a honey missed Auburn? Like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody? Because, honey, you missed Auburn. Sorry, it was a joke of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Wow.
You were wrong.
Oh, okay.
Honey, you-
Let's just date our ages even more.
hey, I'm not that old.
Just to backtrack a bit, I do want to put this out there. One of the big things of why I originally got Steam. Poor kid. Most of the games that I played when I was a teenager, and I have no problem saying this with the follow-up statement, I pirated a lot of games. I bought every single one of them afterwards, though, when I actually had the money.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
I-
understandable.
I pirated because I didn't have the money. I couldn't go and play these games, and like I loved
I
playing
would
these
play
games.
Flash games.
Same. I used to, like, that was one of the other
CoolMathGames.com.
Newgrounds.com.
For, like, sniper games or...
AddictingGames.com.
Addicting Games. Oh, Club Penguin.
Hey, guess
rest
what?
in peace.
That dates
Yeah.
us even further.
Yeah, it does. You know what really dates us? I bet Corey used LimeWire.
I sure did.
I didn't, but I knew everyone that did.
I
I got
killed
a
my
lot of people
computer.
But the big thing of why I originally got Steam was this was back in 2011 or 2010. I don't remember when. But they had this like ad that said, if you participate in this giveaway through Steam, if you participated in it, we will give you up to like 10 games for free from your wish list.
That's awesome.
And it was like 200 total people wouldn't get this, but I saw this and I'm a poor kid. I was in a poor home. I saw this and it fascinated me. And they had like over the years they've had so many games that I've tried for free because hey, this weekend alone you can play this game for free. And that's how I ended up playing Dungeon Defenders 2 or the first one,
Not 2.
not 2.
Some Dungeon Defender game. I think it was called Dungeon Defender.
It was Dungeon Defenders.
Some tower defense thing. I think it was called Bloons.
I love balloons. But
Another Flash game I played all the time. Super Monkey, go!
I played a lot of
old.
Stickman Fight too.
Stickman Fight.
2.
2.
I never could find one. I was
I
able to
never
find
could
2.
either.
You know what game was really good that wasn't actually, I guess, wasn't truly a Flash game? Budapest Defenders. So it's one of those games where like there's a maze that the enemies come in and they try to destroy your base.
Okay.
And
Tower Defense.
yeah, it's a tower defense game. And it was just this tiny little thing that was like really sad and like, but it was, you literally got, it was just like any tower defense game, but it was really cheesy and it was free, but it was like, it was really hard to play because like the easy difficulty was super simple.
Oh,
There's only one way for them to come in. The problem was when you went to the intermediate, there was not instead of going to 2, there was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't get to the hard mode until you beat the 4. And the best I ever did was the halfway through point. I was like, I can't beat this. I didn't know anybody that could. I know someone that got to the last wave and then died, but it was bad because I just couldn't figure out the optimal setup.
Yeah. Just young. Like,
Even now, I probably wouldn't be able to do it because
probably not.
there are games like that I could, like Mega Man X5 was it? Whichever one Josh was letting me play. I don't know which one. So I beat that game except for like the last 2 levels, and I didn't struggle with any of the bosses really when I was younger. I couldn't beat that stupid Pegasus to save my life. How many times did I die to that thing? Like 15?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You died a lot to that Pegasus.
That was like a year and a half ago.
Something like that. I don't know. It would say more
It was
like
last year. It was last summer.
Yeah, so like
9 months.
9 months,
Yeah.
something like that.
But yeah, it was bad because I just couldn't beat it. And it made no sense. Like, I beat this no problem when I was younger. What's going on? Biggest problem I was having is I was reacting too fast. And when I was trying to not react too fast, I didn't react at all.
Yeah.
Because that's my 2 points. I either react too fast or I don't react at all. Thank you, Chauncey.
you'd be a great person.
We'll edit him in later too. So I mean,
So moral of the story.
Moral of the story: I'm still gonna buy
Borderlands.
Borderlands 3.
I'm getting it for PS4.
I'm getting it on PC. Like it, I'm
getting
still
it on
gonna do it.
PS4 because
I'm just
that way I can
hoping.
play it with Fluffy.
I'm hoping, so hoping, Steam can figure this stuff out, and Epic and like all the. I hope it can all just be figured out. Like it'll be so much better for everybody if we don't have, like, a little friendly competition. Not that bad. When we have this much going on and it's causing a huge backlash, it's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
So that's all I got on that.
Well, I do want to put this out there. We've been going for over an hour now.
Yes. Do we want to get to the quote-unquote big topic?
Which would be yours.
So, recent. I mean, it's just this past weekend. So,
So-
I guess we'll talk. We'll let the man who likes to talk a lot do it. I'm gonna walk away.
So, the Mythic Championship 2 for Magic, which is the new term for the Pro Tour. Mythic Championship 2 London happened this past weekend. Started Friday at 8 a.m. in London, so 4 a.m. here in Texas.
Yes.
And my psychotic self was up watching it almost every single day. They were testing out a new rule called the Mulligan Rule, the London Mulligan Rule. It completely works how the concept of mulliganing works. For those of you that don't know what it is, so in Magic, you start with an open hand of 7. You can choose to keep this or not. If you choose not to, you shuffle your hand back, and in the current rule, you draw 6 cards. If you choose to keep this, you look at the top card of your deck, and you may put it on top or bottom. If you choose to not take it and go down another card, you go to 5. And so on and so forth. But you only ever look at one card. The new mulligan rule that they're testing, which is probably going to happen, instead you draw 7 cards every single time. Let's say you mulligan twice. Okay? You decide to keep this hand. You take 2 of those cards in your hand and you put them on the bottom of your deck. So it helps combo decks or decks that need specific cards to win, or it just helps decks that are in an unwinnable matchup find their key pieces in games 2 and 3 to have a chance to win. Which, after watching the Pro Tour, because I was a huge advocate against it, after watching the Pro Tour, no one really abused it from what I saw, and it really didn't seem to have too much of an effect, seeing as there were still a few non-games, which is one of the big reasons why they wanted to test it. They didn't want games where, like, oh, I have to keep this because I'm at 4 cards, I have no lands, or I have 1 land, while all my cards cost 2, 3, 4 to play, I can't do anything unless I draw a land, and they just never hit another land, the game ends. They were trying to not let that happen. They wanted it to not be that way. But the problem is, people weren't aggressively mulliganing to find more lands, to find their key pieces, or whatever from what I saw. Unfortunately, they only spotlighted 1 match per round, and yeah, in between games, they would go to the other, they had 3 other matches going, they would show you part of it, and then that game would end, and they'd jump back to the main game, to the main match. So, and then every once in a while, they spotlighted LSV, Luis Scott Vargas' match in a time walk. Basically, they replayed a game at like super speed, so like just to show you another game that happened or another match or however they did it. So the mulligan rule, I don't 100% know Corey's opinion on it. It doesn't seem to be as impactful as I was afraid of. No one abused it.
I didn't get to watch, so...
But from what you were... But I don't know how you felt before.
I thought it was interesting. Did we really need a mulligan change? I don't think so.
We just got one a couple years ago.
Yeah, like, we already got the Scry. I think it's kind of good, but I feel like it's simplifying the game.
Yeah. So,
And I'm noticing that with the deck list, because all the deck lists of certain wins are now posted, finally.
yeah, I saw that.
There was 2 Cheerios decks.
Yep, that was... So, yeah, the 2 Cheerios decks, they were... they didn't really... I don't know how well they actually did, but they didn't top 8.
One got 6 wins, one got 7.
Okay, so they got 18 and 21 points respectively, which isn't bad. Like, that's really good. The problem is, unfortunately, that's not the only format played at the Pro Tour. So you can't just dominate one format and pray and get top 8. But they didn't show any of the Cheerios decks on the stream that I saw. Again, I was up for most of it. I did fall asleep throughout it because being up at 4 a.m., yes, I do that for work. I don't want to be doing that on my days off.
No.
And with the pre-release being Friday night and me going to midnight, I fell asleep as soon as it started on Saturday and woke up 4 hours later. So I missed all of the draft, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Except for,
like,
I think, the tail end.
From what I'm seeing of these deck lists, it's mostly Is It Phoenix and Humans. That's the name I'm seeing the most.
So
it even shows on MTG Goldfish the top cards played.
yeah, they do that on MTG Top 8 as well.
Number 1, Ancient Stirrings. There's 547 copies of Ancient Stirrings in the tournament.
Out of 500 players, 517 players.
26.6% of the deck.
That is, but there were a lot of Eldrazi decks.
Next was Opt.
Yep.
At 447.
Phoenix, Control, I believe
So
Cheerios plays
So
it.
here's the thing: like Ancient Stirrings is number one card, and it's played in Tron, which I see a
A
decent
Hardened
amount.
Scales.
Hardened Scales, and then some Eldrazi.
Yeah, some of the Eldrazi decks.
The next 4 cards,
After Opt and...
no. After Ancient Stirrings, is the only deck I see. Well, for the most part, the only deck that plays all 4 of these is Izzet Phoenix, because it's Opt, Bolt, Looting, Serum Visions.
That and Storm are the only decks that play all those.
And I don't see Storm. I really don't.
I know Ad Nauseam was...
There's White Blue Control, which plays Opt.
Yeah. I know Ad Nauseam was there, which plays Serum Vision, and still plays Sleight of Hand over Opt, which is interesting.
I'm not seeing... Like, I'm looking at top decks.
Yeah.
I see Esper Control, which could play Serum Vision and Opt.
I'm not sure if they do, but
It's Looting is played by Dredge and is it Phoenix, from what I'm seeing.
Make sure hot dogs are like super boiling.
Surgical Extraction being the next one.
What's the biggest pot?
Thought Scour
Because
is number 7.
which is in Death Shadow, Phoenix.
Path to Exile being the next at 8. Snapcaster Mage at 9.
Really? Wow.
323 copies of Snapcaster Mage,
That card is
24.27%.
gonna jump in price. That card is gonna decline.
Dismember being number 10.
That makes sense because
At
Tron
306.
plays it.
So-
and Hardened Scales plays it.
Your top, they have top creatures and top spells after that. I mean, most of the spells I mentioned actually most of that top 8 or top 10 cards was spells. You take out Snapcaster Mage, the next thing, Expedition Map.
Yeah.
But
So
your top creatures, it looks like number 1 being Snapcaster,
obviously,
number 2 being Double Hierarch,
yep, because it's in 100,000 decks.
291 copies, only 14.17% of the decks.
That's still a lot.
Number 3 being Walking Ballista,
Yep.
290. So
Yeah, that's
1 less copy than Double Hierarch.
that's in Tron and Hardened Scales, which was they were both everywhere.
4 being Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, so
Yep.
the original Thalia.
OG, which is the best one.
5 being Art Like Phoenix.
Yeah.
And
So-
252 copies. Worm Coil Engine coming after that. Thing in the Ice at 248 at number 7. Meddling Mage,
Yep.
Reflector Mage, Champion of the Parish. So the last 3 are humans.
Yeah, so the humans decks are making a roaring comeback. I feel the reason that they made such a big comeback is because the other part of the test that they did at the Pro Tour, on I think it was day 2. Obviously the top 8, but I think just day 2 they did. You had your opponent's deck list as soon as you sat down.
Yeah.
You literally had to give your opponent a copy of your deck list before the match started for them to look over, so they knew if you were mainboarding, like rest in peace. That way they knew what key cards they needed to go after, which I think made humans unfair because of Meddling Mage. Because literally they go turn 1, Hierarch, their opponent wouldn't do anything on turn 1. They go turn 2,
Name your
Meddling Mage, name your best card, the card that just blows them out, and then you're like, oh yeah, it'll
the
be,
card you need to keep going. Like,
yeah. So
That's probably why humans won.
So
And
humans
there are
humans
3
ended up
humans decks in the top 8.
and 1 Phoenix.
One Phoenix, Titan Shift, Tron, Affinity.
Yeah, and the Affinity deck was interesting because it was red-blue, playing Experimental Frenzy, which I think is extremely cheeky, because the fact that a lot of your cards cost 0, 1, and 2. So you have 4 lands, spell. Oh, that took no lands. Oh look, here's another. Here's a 1 coster. Here's a 2 coster. Here's another 1 coster. Oh look, another 0 coster. Oh, here's another box. Oh, we'll get rid of my old one. Now I have another mana. It was just in the finals. He didn't play a single Experimental Frenzy, which because it's probably too slow against humans, honestly.
Probably.
But the problem, he stole 1 game, and then the match was over. He won game 3 in the best of 5, and then lost in game 4, and that was it. And it was because the humans deck just didn't have the gas in game 3, and the Affinity deck just kind of threw up on the board like OG Affinity does. But
So Meddling Mage has already jumped to about $20 a piece.
yeah, That's not surprising, simply because the fact that Humans is probably going to make a roaring comeback because of the Pro Tour. That deck was everywhere. It was not losing games that easily. It beat Tron in top 4.
Wait, what?
Yes, Humans beat Tron in top 4 because the Tron player didn't. So with the Mulligan rule, Tron was supposed to be this busted deck. They didn't aggressively mulligan to get Tron on turn 3 every game in a matchup where they need to. But if they do, they straight up win because they're going to name Oblivion Stone with Meddling Mage, and if they have a second Meddling Mage, they're going to name Ugin. Okay, Karn. Eat the one that's that's eating whichever one you have in your hand, and then play the other one. You now win the game. It's that simple. They didn't do that, which I'm not going to say is wrong, because in testing they may have felt that they didn't need to. I don't know, because I haven't done any testing with the new Mulligan rule outside of goldfishing stupid combo decks that don't care what my opponent's doing. Yeah. But from what I've heard from Tron players, you with this new rule, you aggressively mulligan, period. You need to have Tron on turn 3, and then you just win the game. Because, truly, that's what Tron does. If they get Tron on turn 3 and they survive that long, they generally just win the game. Even in the Burn matchup, which is, generally speaking, a bad matchup for Tron, if they survive to their 3rd turn, they play a Wormcoil Engine. Now Burn's like, well, do I have a Skullcrack? No, you win. Because that's the unfortunate part of the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And Sideboard just gets worse because they have Thrag Tusk, which should not exist. But in any case,
Not getting into that one.
no, not again. But so he's like even the Tron players were all like, yeah, this is a great matchup. The Humans player was like, this is a bad matchup, and he blew the Tron player out. Absolutely blew him out because the Tron player, all he was finding was Walking Ballistas. So his opponent was going, okay, I'm going to name Oblivion Stone, Ugin, Walking Ballista. Okay. It's what, a 4/4? Sure. You kill one creature because of Thalia's Lieutenant. Because Thalia's Lieutenant just makes everything bigger. Because it's a Lord for 2 that's better than a Lord. So, Humans is going to be on the rise again. So, if you're looking to play competitive Magic, unfortunately, it's going to come back to, can I beat Humans? No. Do I really think I can play this deck right now, then? Possibly, because they're playing the Deputy of Detentions? Basically, Detentions here on a stick. It's the same cost, it's a 1/1. It's not a human, but they're mainboarding it, because why not, basically? It's kind of like how...
it's a Vidalcan wizard.
Yeah, it's kind of how Spirits was playing Noble Hierarchy. It's not a spirit, but it makes the deck better.
Yeah.
So, because it was a removal spell for anything.
Bobby, I want to make Cheerios.
Okay. Have fun with
I
that.
want to build Cheerios.
Have fun with
It's only $956.
it.
No.
Most of it's 4 cards.
I'm just
Box
going to
open.
be completely honest. I already have the thought process of like just having a timer of how long it took me to actually talk again.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I mean, I just let Bobby go. I was just looking at decks. I was like, he's talking. I was
It's
just
really safe
Brady.
to say. I don't think anyone can argue about this, but Bobby is really passionate about Magic.
I love the game. I just don't like the direction that Wizards is taking it.
Oh, pretty much.
That's the problem. Like, I love this game. I've been playing it since 2001. Like, this game has been a part of my life and has honestly kept me alive in a lot of instances because it's taking me away from my problems. It doesn't do that anymore because I'm running the problem that the game
Is part of the problem.
isn't. Well, it's the game isn't what it was for me. I don't have the time, effort, money, or energy to put into the game like I used to before we moved to Texas. I used to play 2 to 5 days a week, sometimes more, because up in Illinois where I was at, there was Magic at Chicago Clubhouse on Mondays. There was Modern on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Everything Games. There was Modern on Wednesdays at Nerd Rage. And depending on the month, you had Modern at one of 7 different shops on Fridays. And then almost every other weekend, you had a big Modern event while it was Modern season. And even outside of the Modern season, you had Nerd Rage running their championship series, which everyone should check out. Because Nerd Rage is an amazing company. Norm was a great guy.
More plugs.
Plug number 2.
I think it's like plug number 4.
I think so, yeah.
I plugged Steve.
You said Brass City too, I think. We've talked about Epic.
Go check out BrassCityGames.com. Shane Myers is a wonderful man as well.
So at this point,
And a
it's just
beautiful
gonna be
man at that, too.
Plug count.
But so,
Now I gotta make sure Shane watches this.
yeah, I can tag Nerd Rage on Facebook.
Gods.
Suck it, Norm! Suck it, Shane!
They're both gonna die laughing at this. Good. And
Because this is late in the episode. They're gonna.
I just ordered cards from Nerd Rage through TCG Player and thanked Norm directly on the comment section. Like, thank you, Norm.
Thanks,
I knew you were
Norm.
going to text me. You're still getting me the cards I need when I can't find them anywhere else. Because it always seems to be every time I needed cards, if I couldn't find it at whatever shop I was going to, I would just go to Nerd Rage the next day. Hey, Norm, do you have these? Sure, here you go. And that's what happened. Norm
dude,
always had what I
Shane,
needed
too.
when I didn't find it anywhere else. But if Norm didn't have it, someone else had it. I might have to go to 4 different shops to find it. But if Norm didn't have it, I found it.
And that's what I had with Shane. Like, Shane would hook me up all the time. Especially when I went up there to visit.
There was a day I went to play Modern at Nerd Rage, and after the first round was still going on, but my match was over. My mom's tire came off her car, like sheared the bolts and everything, so I had to go pick her up. And I'm like, sorry guys, I gotta drop. Give him the win, and I left. Norm gave me store credit, $10 store credit, so I could play the next week without having to pay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Norm,
which is amazing.
Norm's amazing.
I have no idea who this guy is, but he seems like a really good guy.
No, he is.
Yeah.
He's a great businessman, too.
He's got, I think, a photography. Yeah, he's got a photography business too. I don't know much about it, but yeah.
If you want to find out, message him directly. Or
I would also like to point out that Norm was also at one point was speaking about setting up a $1 million cash tournament.
What the hell?
The problem is he would need probably about 5,000 players, and it'd be an excessively expensive entry fee
Yeah.
because he'd
So,
be
maybe-
flipping the bill for the location and then trying to make even on the $1 million, which is understandable. But it'd be $1 million total pay, I think. I'm not sure how he was fully setting it up. He wasn't sure himself.
We're setting this man up
Well, Norm
for failure. At
Norm
this point.
deserves
No.
Norm deserves because he's running the championship series, and he's done nothing but great with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, he has basically taken over the Illinois Magic player base in the Chicagoland area. Yes, Pastimes is trying to fight its way into it, but as the big name store in Illinois, it's him.
Yeah,
And
he's able to run these, like, this is his thing.
He's run
that's
events that they're not at the same size, but they compete with how well they're run with GPs run by Channel Fireball or even the Star City Games events. He actually, for all the Star City Games events I've been to, he's run his championship series 10 times better than Star City Games to run their events. Which Star City always does this extra stuff, which is understandable, but Norm makes sure that the event runs smoothly. So, hi Joshy.
Josh.
But
Interrupting Josh.
But so Norm does a great job. Norm's always got whatever you need, pretty much, and like if he doesn't, he'll find it. And like I applaud him because he does a great job, and he's got his like Nerd Rage has its own team that he helps fund. It's great. So, but back to the Modern thing, like the Humans deck is just gonna be back.
I'll dial. If I'm close to medium, but not to medium. You said turn it down. I said 5 o'clock.
That's fine.
Five o'clock on the dot.
Okay.
He's talking clock terms, Bobby. With that arrow pointing.
I'm
this
like, it's 5:30, isn't it? But in any case,
Welcome back to the podcast, Josh. Hello.
But so, Humans is going to be huge. And the thing is, though, that means that Spirits will be back. Because Spirits was the deck that was competing with humans on the speed. And Phoenix is there now too. Phoenix is taking over because it was just faster and it was more consistent.
Yeah.
So I feel that my view on the Mulligan rule is neutral at this point instead of negative because of the fact that I watched the Pro Tour. It didn't seem to be abused except by one deck, and that one deck was Mono Red Eldrazi, which was hilarious to watch.
Oh, Serum Powder?
The Serum Powders with the dude that you can cast from exile.
Yeah.
That was sweet to watch. It was hilarious. It looked like a great deck.
I was just looking at it myself. It looked fun.
Yeah, it looks solid too. It looks really well built and clearly tested because it's the Pro Tour. But I'm sorry, Mythic Championship.
It's a Pro Tour.
It's the Pro Tour. I'm going to continue to call it that because that's what I've been calling it for eons. So my whole thing is
Just make all the noise, Josh.
if the Mulligan rule does come to pass, it's going to open up a lot to deck designers and deck builders because of glass cannon combo decks being Belcher as the ultimate glass cannon because it's a cannon.
Actually, I can't remember what character is supposed to play. I can't remember this one. Is he
So
gonna be here? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting everything.
you're fine. We're setting up for
See,
D&D, guys.
Interrupting Josh again.
Did we decide on a team or we just end it?
We decided on the team.
I don't know. But so the Mulligan, I don't think it's going to be. It was Ward Chadwick, his new character, Kyron.
Y'all just went out with those characters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Back.
I don't know
I don't know.
anymore.
I think we need to have our wrapping up thoughts
That's
at
fine.
this point.
Yeah,
Which is fine. I'm rambling about the new Mulligan rule. Right? Y'all let me have free reign. That was the problem. We also waited till the end to do it.
listen,
Here's the thing.
we don't plan these things. This
That's
just
fair, we don't.
happens.
That's fair. We don't.
Hey,
And it's your fault.
It's his fault for suggesting that I go last.
Yeah, Looney.
Yeah, Woody.
Way to go, Bobby.
shut up.
Hey.
Calm down, princess.
Alright.
But all in all, quick wrap up of that. The London Mulligan rule.
Seems fine right now because it's not even breaking. It's been on Moto for about a month now, and it's been fine.
Yeah, so like it's the Mulligan rules change doesn't seem like it's gonna do anything at all. It's not gonna change anything.
It's
not
going to change a
upgrade
few
anything.
things. It's going
People
to
are gonna
upgrade.
be playing different decks.
It's going to
Like,
change. It's going to upgrade the stupid decks, like Avatar Belcher and other stupid things like that.
yeah.
But it's not going to break the format. As of what we've seen right now, it's not going to break the format.
You know he's doing it on purpose.
No, I'm just clearing up the phase.
So, but that will be.
I just found one of your hairs in my shorts, Corey.
You're welcome. I have long hair. It's gonna happen.
I don't know how it got there.
Well, thank you for joining us for Madness Not Included.
Edit that out.
We can edit that. Yes, the edited out. Oh, and one last thing that you guys are gonna see that we don't.
It's already it's already the YouTube channel's like profile picture is
That our new logo is thanks to
Jen Davis,
yet again
because she's an amazing woman. And thank you for being so helpful and so
excited
supportive was my idea.
hyper chihuahua.
That's just pretty much. Pretty much.
Oh my god, you guys did it! Oh my god! Like it was.
adorable.
It was.
I wouldn't know I wasn't there for the reaction.
It was hilarious.
It was good. It was funny. She was so excited. It was good to see. But that's all I needed to just plug in there one more time.
Just one last plug before everything ends.
Plug.
Alright, thank you for joining us for our chaos. See you next time.
This is